Usually one day is all you have to do. You know, throw it in the wash at the end of the night or end of the day, whatever, however you choose to do it. We don't make her sleep in it, but yeah, we oh, help me out, Eileen,
Yeah.
Eileen made her some diapers. Then I also bought some.
Eileen.
They're cheap on Amazon. Of course, Ava's a diva, so she got skirts, but Suede has the just has the shorts. So, and they're awesome.
Yeah, so it's going to be whatever works for your dog, and the first thing you get might not work for them. You know, I've had dogs.
They're not gonna like it
Yeah,
at all.
but it definitely saves, I think, from getting blood in places you don't want it.
Okay.
So, and Kelly's absolutely right. She took the words out of my mouth. Other dogs will be an indicator. So you just want to be, you know, especially the male dogs, whether they're neutered or not, it won't matter. Once they smell a female, they know. So, and you'll be able to tell.
Okay.
So then at that point, I wouldn't take her out until she finishes. But right now, if there's no indication, there's no reason not to take her out.
Do you have a fenced in yard?
What?
Do you have a fenced in yard?
Partially.
Partially. So you don't let her out by herself, then you go out.
No. I'm always outside every time I let either of my dogs out, and
Okay.
I stay out there the entire time with them.
I was gonna say, don't suspect that they're safe if they're behind a fence, because a dog will dig under to get to a dog in heat. A male will. So, you know, don't ever take that for granted. That's all.
Okay.
Yep, because those dogs, those male dogs can smell a female from a mile away. And I don't think I'm exaggerating. So yeah, it's a pretty distinct smell. Also, Valerie wrote in the chat that so we were talking about the humping earlier. Dogs also do it when they are anxious and they have pent up energy. So I'm wondering if your smaller dog, maybe, you know, Lace has just gotten there. You're all guys are still settling in. So just give it some time.
Yeah. I do know my other dog was not pleased when Lace showed up. It took her 3 or 4 days for the snarling and growling to stop.
Yeah.
But now they're rolling around on the floor, playing with the ball, chasing each other. You know, there's no issues now. It was the first 3 or 4 days. She was just a little grouchy about having a new member of the family.
Yep.
So,
and that's sometimes how females are.
Yeah.
You don't call them the B word for nothing. That's
one more thing. They might get clingy. That can be an indicator.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Clingy or standoffish, actually.
What was that?
Or standoffish.
Oh,
yeah, they can isolate themselves if they are of that inclination. It's like a dog specific thing. They'll either be underfoot and attached to you, or they'll want to go lay in your crate and be left alone.
Good to know.
Yep. Just a side note, if you have gone or you're going to go to have your dog's eyes checked for the May service dog, eye checking, wherever, just be sure that you send that information into New Horizons and that it's clearly your dog's name is clear on the form. Just send it to the admin email so that they have record of that. I just took my 2 today, and I have never seen such a beautiful veterinary office. Oh my goodness. It looked like it was just so pretty. The inside was pretty, and it had these huge columns on the front. It was ginormous, very nice. So, and my dog's eyes are perfectly fine. We were a little concerned about Quinn because sometimes she acts like she can't see things, but apparently she can. She's just faking us out. Okay, other questions, other training issues that you might be having, or things that you have a question about?
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I am going to have a house guest with me for several days.
Huh?
The house guest is a German Shepherd.
Mhm.
How do I introduce them to each other? He tends to, he stayed with me before and he's very mellow. He's very low key.
Okay.
He'll
And I think
walk the
Splash is
dog.
pretty low key, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes. So I
He's-
would introduce them outside. Like if you can get the owner of the German Shepherd to, come early enough that you can get them to meet outside. I wouldn't let them go nose to nose. I would give them a chance to butt sniff.
Yes, nose to nose, or no
No,
nose?
no nose to
No.
nose.
Okay,
No nose to nose.
that's what I
Now,
thought, but
if they become buddies and choose to go nose to nose after, that's up to them. But in meeting, don't let them go nose to nose. So if you can, so what I usually do is I will hold the dog that I have, I will hold their head and I will let the other dog sniff the dog that I have their butt so that I have control so that my dog's not whipping around and doing something I don't want him to do. Same thing with the other dog. Just give them a chance to meet like that. Somebody else might have a different suggestion, ways they've done it, but, and you can also have them, you can go for a walk together. Just even if it's just 5 minutes, just look, we're walking together, see how nice we get along. And then, Splash might be a little territorial once you get in the house, but maybe not if you meet them outside and, everybody acts like, oh, yay, he's supposed to be here, or she, whatever. Is it a neutered, shepherd?
yes.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you're gonna have any problem, but I would just suggest that you meet outside, do a nice greeting outside, maybe take a 5-minute walk together. It would be great even, I mean, dogs don't generalize, but it would be great if you could meet before the weekend and then, but if you don't have that opportunity, it's fine. I think Splash will be fine. But I would definitely just do a nice little walk outside together. Anybody else have any suggestions? Those have always worked for me, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good. That'll be good for Splash to have another dog that's not a golden. Well, sometimes, and this is not to even, it's sometimes we find our dogs to be partial to goldens or labs. They're very funny. And then they see a dog of a different size or color and they're like, oh my God, who is that?
But
So
he actually met a golden doodle and a cocker spaniel this weekend, and
Good.
he pretty much
was-
was like, oh yeah, your dog. Okay, never mind. He ignored them the rest of the afternoon. So
good. Yep.
Oh.
That's awesome. That's what we want. Not every dog meeting happens like that, but that's good. That's what we're looking for.
Good.
So yes, good question.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanos only growls at Goldens. That's too funny. I've had some dogs who will see like, a big brown, like dark brown dog or a black dog, and they'll be like, who is that? And I'll be like, it's a dog. It's just a dog. And they're like, oh, okay. It's just kind of funny. Micah sees lots of dogs in the campground of all shapes and sizes. And he pretty much, he'll alert to them like there's a dog, but he doesn't at this point growl. He's had dogs growl at him. He's had dogs like lunging off of their leashes towards him. And he's like, whatever. I'm just walking with my mom. So fortunate so far. Any more questions or comments or things that you've done really great with your dog recently? I know
Something we've had an issue with is Suede is how to put this delicately, a coprophage.
a what?
Yeah. She eats her sister's doodle.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Coprophage.
geez. So has she been doing it for a while, Luke?
Yeah, and she'll like tailgate Charlie and catch him fresh until we get out there and like get it cleaned up, and it's grody, and we're looking for tips.
Okay.
Is she
so-
related to Hoover? Because Hoover did that to Dior, would literally follow her around and like take it out like it was a dispenser. Disgusting.
Let's Mally is her mom.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't, that's not. Hoover's.
Okay, no, it's not the same mom. That's
Have
too
you
far.
tried feeding them both pineapple? Because that didn't work on Hoover, but it worked on a previous dog of mine. They don't like the way it smells coming out. So it's something to try. Just a spoon of like canned pineapple in each of their meals.
Interesting. We actually, I cut up a pineapple like 2 days ago. We still got some in the fridge. So that's my pineapple though.
Well, you'll have to share, Luke. That's too funny. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, there's also, I guess, spray that you can get. I don't know what it's called. I know people have used it. So that might be something that you look for the next time you're in a pet store, or maybe you can look online, but I know there's some
Yeah,
type of
I've heard of sprays, and there's like chewable tablets that you supplement their diet with that makes them extra grody. But having 3 dogs, Suede's the only one that is doing it, and I don't know if she's tailgating Ava. I would try not to let them out alone.
That's funny.
Yeah, it gets expensive quick, is what I was saying. It's those chewable things and the like food supplements, but I've already got pineapple, so that's worth a try.
Right. Yeah. And it's not even like the whole can. It's just a spoonful.
Right,
Right?
just a spoonful. Yeah.
Yeah, spoonful. And both of their foods. I think some dogs just go through that. I know it's supposed to be something missing in their diet, but I'm sorry. Quinn went through it for a time, and then she stopped. And now she's like she likes to eat goose poop. Because there's geese here in the park, and they leave
Yeah.
geese and
Oh,
deer
yeah.
are her thing. Yeah, it's disgusting. So of course we try to catch her doing that, but I mean, I've researched it, and it can't hurt them. It's just, I think it's more gross to us. I don't think a
Okay, that's
regular
good.
steady diet of it is probably not good, but
Right.
as long as you're aware of it and you try to catch her. But I definitely would try the pineapple. Valerie said she also tried chew no poo bites.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure they have. Well, a lot of
Yeah.
them have fun little names like that.
I ordered them. They're from shoot, what's that company? I forget the company, but it's actually based in Orlando. But they also didn't work on Hoover. Hoover was just obsessed. But I read good reviews on them, which is why I bought them. But I guess it just depends. Dior just had delicious poops. I don't know.
All right.
Well, try pineapple and see what happens. Yeah, I know a few people who've gotten sprays and stuff and sprayed on their food. Of course, you have a couple of dogs, so yeah, I think it's a trial and error thing. What works? So Melissa, I don't know if you saw it, but Conan is one of our dogs in training. Conan and Cairo, they're big Great Dane Lab dogs, and Splash got along with Conan. So Valerie said she thinks that Splash will be fine with your German Shepherd friend.
Yeah, because Conan could sometimes have an attitude, and they ended up like literally making out. Like Liz and I have a funny video. So I think Splash is just chill enough for pretty much any dog.
That's good, even coming out of prison. That's good. That's what we want to hear. All right, what else? You're all so quiet. Trying to think if there's anything new to tell you.
Everybody's on mute because we don't want to talk over each other.
Any news on an upcoming rotation, Wendy? Do you know anything?
I do not know about a rotation, but hopefully a team training. So dogs will be placed by the end of June, hopefully, end of June, beginning of July. So
Ah.
Hey, Wendy, are the dogs with their person the first week or is it the second week?
it's the second week. The first week right now for team training is via Zoom. So the people are only traveling 1 week. So it's the second week that they come to the area.
Okay.
Yep. And Valerie, I know I had heard about a rotation maybe sometime in June because I was asking about kayak and I thought that Caitlin had said something about June. But I can't remember if it was mid-June. And of course, when team training dogs come out, then a rotation of dogs goes in. Does that make sense? Yeah, so at that point, dogs would go in and come out and the whole crazy rotation would happen, yes. But
Is Goose gonna be in that one?
I don't know where Goose is. Goose in prison, I think, right?
Somebody told me he came out.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. How old is he now?
He's 3.
3. Okay. I hadn't heard that he was out, but that doesn't mean he's not. I know we have a few new razors, so it's possible.
Okay.
But so what would happen is when the dogs come out and get placed, then those older dogs will go into advanced training. But I think, gosh, Goose is so good. Boy, if we needed extra dogs, he would be one of them. He's a good boy. Do you know where he went to, Melina? Did he go into Sago?
No, you know what? I didn't find out where he went. I know that they said he went down to he was in prison, but it was the advanced one. I didn't
That
even
would
know there
be-
was an advanced one.
That would be Sago. Yeah,
Okay.
that would be Sago. So possibly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It's just that somebody online said they met the famous Goose. So I was just like, how did they meet them?
So
How
it's
did they meet him if he was in prison?
yeah, it's possible that he had like a weekend furlough. They do that
Mm.
sometimes. Laura, hello. Yeah, so it's possible it was a weekend furlough. And somebody saw him.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I saw that too. So that's a possibility. Because I hadn't heard that he was out.
Yeah, that was my first time hearing that when they were like, oh, I met the famous Goose. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I thought he was in prison.
I wondered that too, but they do furloughs down there. They do furloughs for the advanced training dogs and they do furloughs for dogs in prison. So that's possible.
Oh, okay.
Yep. See, and Micah whined I think the first night he did, maybe it wasn't Micah, maybe it was, I don't know, a couple of the male dogs I've had that got neutered, like whined the first night and I felt so terrible for them. So if he's not whining, that's good. Maybe it hasn't started. Is he still on drugs? He's on drugs, right?
Yeah, he is. He just got up to move 2 feet because he's just being silly. Yeah, they gave me all kinds of stuff. I haven't given him anything yet though, because I'm going to try to hand feed him a little bit after we're done here to get him to eat. He didn't
yeah.
even want one earlier. So, but no, he barely has whined at all. Hoover whined the whole drive home. You know, was very dramatic.
Hoover's always talked.
Yeah.
He's still talking in prison.
Probably right at this very moment.
Yes. Yes. That's too funny. Okay.
I hope Conan and Cairo are going to get placed this summer because they're going to be 4 in November.
I know it. I
want him to have his forever home.
Yes. They need a special placement.
Right, I do too.
Yep. Okay, other questions or comments? You're muted, Laura, if you're talking to us. You're still muted. Karen, I think you and Melissa are the newest. Do you have any, I know you've been texting me and I hope I've been answering your questions in a timely manner, but do you have any questions? Karen has Blue Ridge and she's been taking Blue Ridge all over the countryside, so to speak. So that's good. He's getting lots of experiences. When you saw Splash, he must have been with Melissa, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think they were eating their lunch and we walked past, and as soon as you see the vest, you go, oh, there's a friend, there's a friend.
Yes.
But you could tell that Blue knew him, I think, because he looked like, oh, there's another Golden. I know that dog.
Right, right, yeah.
So, but I thought that Blue is so perfect. Like he knows every single command, but there are things that you don't think about. We went to Walmart and I told you, I didn't realize he was afraid or nervous around those great big metal containers that have all the stock on it. And he wasn't bad, but he just went, and so I just had the lady go back and forth a couple times and then he was fine. Then the cart that has the blue baskets, he wasn't sure about that. And we did the same thing with that. So we're going to be taking more trips to Walmart so that way he can have those experiences. But one thing that surprised me was I was getting Excedrin because I had a headache, and I was getting the packages of Excedrin. And what you don't realize is one of them fell and he jumped. And you don't think that that's something that you have to expose the dog to. Things falling off a shelf. If he moves a little bit, it's okay. But if he really spooks, it's not.
Right.
So
that's something you could all do, is just drop things in your kitchen. I drop, when I was in a home, I would drop pans on the floor. So the goal is you drop the pan, you don't, and they will at first be like, oh, and they might, some dogs just stand there and go, what's your problem? But some will like dash the other way. And I never say, oh, it's okay. I just wait to see if they come back to explore. So the goal is to get them to come back and investigate. You drop something, you don't say anything, you just wait. Are they going to come back and investigate? Because a pan dropping is loud. And so I would just wait. And most of them would come back. The puppies, sometimes it took a little bit longer, but the older dogs, either they would just look at you like, wow, that was loud, thanks a lot. Or they would go away for a little bit and then they would come back, and I would just wait to see. But and dropping anything that something that makes a lot of noise, something that doesn't make as much noise but can surprise them. So I think we have a pretty good exposure list, but I think there are things that are not on that exposure list that our dogs sometimes are just surprised by.
But warn your spouse, because Wendy almost killed Tim when she did that one time.
Warn whoever's in the house with you. Yes. Let them know that you're going to be randomly dropping pans. Right, buddy? Yes. But it's good for them, just all those types of noises. Sometimes I'll just go into Walmart and find where they are working, like unpacking boxes, and just kind of stand there and hang out for a little bit.
I was chasing them around.
Yep.
And we don't have trains here, on the East Coast. We wave to the Rockets. So we're going to go to Orlando and go on the Disney buses and the Disney monorails. We figured that would be fun.
Awesome.
So, but he got bored when we were dropping things and he was picking them up. So we just exchanged. When I came in here, he brought the remote to my husband. I said, bring it to Bill. And he brought it to Bill. And then Bill gave it back to me. And I'm going to a Zoom meeting. You've got to keep the remote. So I gave it back to him and back he went.
Good. That's great practice for him.
Yeah, he's a fun toy, but I want to find out what he doesn't know And my
Right.
daughter, my grandchildren ride horses. So we went to the barn, but because I have a little bit of balance issues, I'm not exposing him to something that may be dangerous unless my daughter's with me, you know, for the first time, because
Sure.
he doesn't pull or anything, you know.
Right.
So we drove around the whole barn and we looked at all the horses and the donkeys and all of that. And by the time we were done, he was going to the window to see them, and he never barked and never growled. So I'm hopeful.
Good. Good. Yeah. I mean, just different types of animals.
Mhm.
You know, cows and horses and
Yeah.
pigs and just, you know, anything that is different to them. It's always good to expose them and then, you know, expose them again, just see how they do.
Yeah. We also went to the pet shop.
Yeah, that's a good place to go too. I know Micah is very intrigued by all the little animals. So we've got lots of birds here that come like on the ground and they flitter on the ground all over. And then we have squirrels and mostly squirrels and birds. And he's very interested in them, especially when we walk at night. I think he thinks he may hear them, but he thinks he sees them. And he'll be like, where's that? I just heard something. So,
do they give them stuffed animals in prison? Because he's a drive-by thief. Because we were at dance class and he was healing perfectly. He got a little far away and we said closer and he moved closer. But he figured, oh, I've got my vest on. They can't touch me. And grabbed a stuffed animal and kept on walking. And the poor little girl was chasing him going, that's mine, that's mine.
oh, that's awesome.
But he loves stuffed animals. And I'll look up on the shelf and I'll see the stuffed animals starting to move off the shelf. But
Yes.
Campbell was like that too. My son's PTSD dog. He loves stuffed animals. So maybe it's because they don't have them.
I think and I think also they're little and cute a lot of times. And I think they just can detect when we call them stuffies. They can detect when it's a stuffy, you know, they know and they will go for it if you give them the chance. Absolutely. Yeah. Luke says Ava loves her stuffed toys. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you just the problem when I was in a house, we'd give them a stuffed toy, and most dogs within a couple minutes, maybe 5 if we were lucky, 10 if we were really lucky, would have it shredded and the stuffing everywhere. So then I started getting them the non-stuffed toys, the ones that aren't stuffed. Those seem better. They like to throw those up, and you know, you just have to be careful that they don't eat the stuffing. What are you doing, guys? Oh my. I don't know if the person who asked me about this is on here. I don't think so. I did want to, they don't kill them so much anymore. I don't want to, I don't want to talk for long about this, but I did want to address dog play. So one, it's real important that you do get your dog to play with another dog. Whether you go to, if you guys are in the Sanford area and you can go to Laura's play dates that she has sometimes, or you can meet up with another New Horizons dog and play, or if you have a dog that you know of in your area, it's real important that your dog get time to play. This is what it looks like. And he stops, of course. You ding dong. They just wrestling. The only thing is you want to listen for when the dog sound what we call amping up. When it no more sounds like play and now it sounds a little serious. And at that point, it's important to step in and be like, okay, playtime's over for now. So sometimes Micah, right, like right now they're playing, see, they're kind of, they're showing their teeth and they're wrestling. And Micah, when we first got him, would amp it up regularly and I would have to separate them. And you can just hear it in their growling, in the way they're responding to the other dog. So like I said, it's super important that our dogs are playing with other dogs. It's really good for them, but you do want to listen for those times when it's getting to be too much. So I'm thinking, okay, so Valerie, Dior and Thanos, do they play together? Okay, does it ever get to the point where it gets amped up? Okay, who amps it up first usually? Is it Thanos or is it Dior?
They actually don't do it that much where I really notice like who's doing it, it just starts to get loud, and I just quit before that either of them seems angry.
Okay.
With Hoover and Dior, Hoover would amp it up, and then Dior would reciprocate, and then I would have to like sometimes physically grab one. They were always like, if I was able to physically touch one, they would immediately stop. But sometimes I guess I probably almost let it go a little too far with just a verbal like they wouldn't hear me anymore. But they never did anything bad to each other. So it just, headed in the direction I didn't want.
Right. You just have to be aware that there is a difference between, we're playing and we're growling and we're, Laura calls it Clash of the Titans in her backyard. And then it goes to the point where you can tell there's a difference. And that at that point, you're like, nope, okay, we're done. And it may be you physically taking a hold of the dog's collar and with Micah, sometimes I have to do that. Like right now he's being really good, but I've worked with him and not let him get after Quinn too much because she's a diva and she only wants to play on her terms. So, she'll go after, not go after, but she'll, play with him. But when he starts to get too much, then I'm like, okay, that's enough. We're not going to hurt my little girl. But just be aware of that. One, it's really important that dogs play. And two, it's really important that you're listening to their play. You're just not, putting them out back and closing the door and saying, good luck. So Luke said, they're trying to get Suede to quit grabbing and head shaking Ava's jowls. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a video of that, what that looks like.
We could probably make that happen. She gets Ava on her back and she gets a mouthful of under her ear, side of her neck, and starts, she's doing the head shake. And we're, worried that she's gonna break skin if she does that. The pulling and shaking. Mouthing is okay in play, but not the head shake so much.
And it's Suede doing it to Ava. Interesting.
Correct.
Yeah. I find labs.
And if Suede gets too rough, Ava lets her know, and they cool it and shake it off, and then run around or re-engage. But Ava will correct her if she gets too rowdy.
Good. Yeah, and sometimes your dogs will do it to each other, and then they separate. That's something we're going to kind of address. Dogs playing. Laura found a really good video on what it looks like because you never
the break and shake and lipping, lip licking and baring of teeth and snarling and it's all we're familiar with it, but it'd be kind of cool to see the video.
Yep. Are you done playing?
When they disengage and shake it off and and then kind of lock eyes again and take off out through the yard and hit the door.
Right. Yeah, and they're basically according to this video, they're basically talking the whole time in dog language, which is kind of cool. But they're telling each other, "Okay, I'm done for now. Okay, now I'm ready again."
We're still playing. Yeah, we're playing. This is fun. And okay, that's enough.
Yes. Karen, good question. So you're gonna do dog obedience with Blue? Where's vest is okay to take it off. And so like, is there a playtime at the end?
Sometimes I think that there is. When we brought Fresca, our other golden, to dog obedience, she wouldn't play with any dog when she had her vest on. And everyone was upset because she didn't play. And I said, no, she knows how to play. And I took the vest off and she was running around doing zoomies.
Yeah. So definitely, if you're going to allow him to play, take off the vest. Yep.
Right. But it's okay if I choose not to allow him to play.
It's okay if you choose not to.
Yeah. Because I think he's very interested in other dogs, which makes I think that's funny because he's been in dog obedience at prison for all this time, but he's very interested and he puts his ears up and he wants to go near them, but we haven't allowed him yet.
Because every dog smells different.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how many dogs your dog has seen, every dog smells different. So they want, who's that dog? Oh, who's that dog? It's just dog. So, I would encourage you to let him play, even if it's only for a few minutes, and just make sure that his vest is off. He's not playing in his vest.
Right. We've gone over to my daughter's house. She has a golden, and we have a golden here. So she's very good at playing with other dogs.
Awesome.
But you can see sometimes he startles if, you know, a dog comes up behind him like did at SeaWorld.
Right, right.
That wasn't Splash.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, so play is important. It is just being a dog. You know, they do that well.
One thing about play where we had a really scary incident was when I just haven't used that kind of collar that we use. And so Splash had his collar on, and our golden and him were playing, and they were the best of friends, but my golden's one of his teeth got stuck in Splash's collar, and that turned bad real fast.
Yes.
Because they both got really, really freaked out.
Yep.
So from now on, like, we've never had collars on inside again after that happened, because it was so scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. It is. I have a horror tale, which I will not tell, but about,
I know.
not our collars, but the collars that are chains all the way around. So yes, so if you're going to allow two dogs to play out in the backyard, in the house, I probably would take their collars off. You know, if they're just laying on the floor, you know, sometimes Quinn and Micah will do, they're not even really moving. They're just kind of biting at each other on the floor. Their collars on. I normally take the dog's collars off when I go in the house anyway. Just, I don't need them on in the house, but just, yeah. But if they're out in the backyard or you go to a play date, it's probably a real good idea to take your dog's collar off. Cause yeah, that can, like Liz said, it can turn bad real fast.
It's also good to take the collar off before you leave them in a crate, because they can get stuck on the wiring and then can choke themselves and lose their minds if they're stuck on the crate.
Yep, that's true. True.
I just have a question about crating. Are we supposed to still crate them when they're like, he's 2.5, I guess?
Yep.
How long do they need to be crated per day?
It's up to you, as long as they can still be used to going in a crate. And
yeah, he goes in whenever we tell him to go in, you know.
Yep.
He collects dog bowls from the other crates and brings them to me.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, if you choose to leave him in one night and let him stay out a couple nights because he is older, or he's whatever, he's out a couple nights and in a couple nights, whatever, but he just needs, so that he doesn't get used to not being in a crate.
Right.
Yep. Okay, anybody else? Any other questions or comments? So I really would like you guys, when you're training, if you can do it, is to take some just short videos. If you're practicing a certain skill, we're always looking for videos for our actual training sessions, the Zoom training sessions. So I know Karen was going to try to get a video of her doing something with Blue Ridge. Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be detailed, just a skill you're practicing. So sometimes I'll just take my phone and set it down somewhere where it can just record me automatically. Sometimes Tim does it, but sometimes I just set it where I can find a spot, and it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, they both help us. But if you've made a mistake, it doesn't matter. It helps us to see mistakes, and it helps us to see stuff that's good. So I know everybody's like, I don't feel comfortable being on. Okay, so try to put the camera or the phone in a place, or whatever camera in a place where it's not taping you, it's videoing you, it's videoing the dog. I mean, you can still hear your voice, but I try to mostly get the dog. But those are super helpful when we do Zoom trainings, just to see, what other people are doing and how it's going. And we learn from those. So, just can be a short 30-second or less, but they're very helpful.
Were you serious about you want one of Suede and Ava playing?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. It would be good to see like that, because I think some people, Kelly, are so afraid to let the dogs play because they're afraid, oh my God, they're going to hurt each other. I mean, my dogs have gone to town, and I know Laura's dogs have too. But I know when it's getting to be too much. And so, yeah, that would be interesting because you have a lab and a golden.
And Suede is very vocal. So well,
Okay.
she's vocal when she's playing. So there's a lot of growling going on, but it's not real growling, it's play
Right,
growling.
right,
And
exactly.
So, and Ava's quiet, so I can see where that would be a good training video.
Yep.
It looks like she's trying to kill her.
Yes.
If you didn't know better.
Yes.
It sounds and looks like it, so.
Yep. But they've been together since they were babies, so they're just used to playing like that, you know, and they're probably the best of friends, right? Yeah. Yep. So yeah, something like that would be helpful for people to see. Look, dogs, it may look rough, but they're really enjoying each other, you know. And do you ever have a time when you hear them amping up, or is it always just playing?
It's always just playing. When we see her doing the head shakes, we stop her.
Okay.
When we see Suede, Ava never does the head shake. It's always just Suede. She's a lab. She's a crackhead. So, you know, that's a lot of it. We don't, you know, think too much of it, but if we do see her doing the head shake, we do stop her.
Right. Good.
But as for it getting amped up, yeah, Ava does get mad at her sometimes and lets her know about it, but not very often.
Yeah. 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 Dogs are, especially labs and goldens, are pretty tolerant of that. But yeah. Yeah, I was gonna try to get a video of when Micah amps it up, but he's getting so good about not amping it up that it's hard to catch him. It's hard to catch him being naughty. You only have about 10,000 videos. Okay, well, you go through those. Yeah, I mean, that's always helpful. And I think there are some raisers who definitely, you know, especially if they don't have two dogs and they go to play with another dog, they don't necessarily know what that sounds like. Like those of us that have a couple of dogs, we hear it often. And so we don't think much about it. And we pay attention when we need to, but people who just have the one, it's harder sometimes, I think, for them to tell because they don't hear that all the time. So it would be good for them to see those. So yes, Kelly, I was serious. And yes, Valerie, you can go through your 10,000. Okay, anything else? It is 7:05 and I don't want to keep you any longer. Any other questions or comments for the good of the group? Well, I appreciate you guys getting on. This has been recorded. I did remember, I think like 10 minutes in, but that's okay. And it'll be posted. So if you know somebody that didn't get to see it, remind them we were on and we missed them. All right, guys, have a great night and thank you. See you
Bye.
later. Bye.
Good night.